evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'll now call the Ascension Parish Board of Adjustments to order and open the meeting with the roll call. Mr. David LeBlanc, not absent, obviously. Mr. Bryce Cox.
Here.
Mr. Jim Cecil.
Here.
Ms. Kathy DeSater. Is that close?
Desideer.
I'm never going to get it right. She's absent. Mr. Brad Walker, Vice Chairman.
Present.
And I'm here, Howard Dalton, the Chairman. We'll move on to the public comment period. This is a little portion of the meeting where the public can comment about the function of this board, not to speak to individual issues coming before the board, but to speak about the board one way or the other. Does anyone wish to speak to that? Seeing none, we'll move on. Can I have a request from the board for the acceptance of the minutes of the last meeting?
I had given the secretary a couple of changes on the last page. It's not major importance, but she showed me as voting on those last two motions, and I was absent, so she corrected that and has me down as absent now. So
I make a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, to accept the minutes with the corrections. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's accepted. Can I have a motion for the acceptance of the written decisions?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, to accept the written decisions. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. That carries. Okay, we'll move into the consideration for the variances. The first item on the agenda is, well, mine's out of order. Hold on. Wait a minute. There we go. Sorry, I had the wrong thing in front of me. Too much paper. Is Review ID 1883, located at the northeast corner of LA Highway 937 and Rogers Road. This is being applied for by Cheryl Mellon. Did you sign in? If you would, please. And on that note, I'd like to remind everybody, please turn your cell phones off. They do cause interference. Ms. Mellon, if you'd state your hardship and why you need this variance.
Okay. I'm Ellen Jackson with McLean and Associates. I'm representing Ms. Mellon. We're asking for a variance. The lot, when this lot was subdivided originally, it had enough acreage. Since then, Ms. Mellon has sold the property that's from the ditch to the center line of the road to her adjacent neighbor, and which took some of the right-of-way, which took some of the area which is needed to make up the amount of property that, after you subtract the right-of-way, it has to be, the minimum left. So after she sold this property, and she didn't have enough property left, so we're asking for this variance.
Okay, before I go into asking the board questions, I'd like to ask staff a question. And the staff comments, it states that the owner sold the property without going through the Zoning and Planning Commission to create Lot 2A. Can you comment to that?
No.
I'm asking this as staff.
Well, the zoning official's out today, so I'm sort of going on the discussion that we had. And the impression is that the lot was sold before they came to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and we're really here trying to clean that up. And the piece of property that was sold was across a road, not really usable to the piece of property because it wasn't contiguous. And so the staff really has no objection to the variance.
Okay, I just want to clear that up.
That was caused of roadway?
Correct.
I have that map if they want to see it.
It should be in their bags.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Well, if you have a question, why don't you ask it?
well, and that's my question: is
Use my phone.
how is she allowed to do that? How can she go through the court process of selling that piece of property and creating the smaller one? I know we're just trying to clear this up, okay? but so that those things don't happen again, is there something in place that prevents that from happening?
No, the clerk of court records whatever it gets. They don't check with us.
So there's no checks and balances to say, hey, wait, you created a lot that's too small.
The clerk of court will record whatever a sale is. They don't, if there's no reference to the map, they record it. They have the right to have it recorded. Now, whether you give it addresses or whatever, in this particular case, there's already a house and everything on that side that has an address. This was the strip of land that was, when they built the road, it wasn't built true to the road. But no, the clerk will record whatever documents are sent to it.
Okay.
Any other board members?
Yeah. Is this currently what it was before on this one? And this is what
Right.
we're trying to fix?
If you need to step up, Miles.
Okay, I know.
Yeah, I see it.
I know you said about they just file whatever they want, but I see down here the chairman of the Ascension Parish Planning Commission signed this plat. Is there
He did
something
sign
wrong
that-
with it?
He did sign that plat, but if you look at the one that we have with our, attached to the, application, is
Right.
the neighbor that's down here where Lot X is being created. He owns like 1.044 acres. He just bought that strip to the center line of the road. That's what he bought.
The lot X you talking about?
Yeah. It was originally 1.044 acres, and he bought just that strip from Miss Mellon that goes to the center line of the road to add in with his lot. They didn't create like a legal little lot.
Okay.
He just bought a strip of land that is simply unusable.
Which
It's
increased
just
him
a
to
ditch.
1.526 acres.
Mm-hmm. To keep her from trying, having to cut grass on the other side, which he was already adjacent to that, to the center line of the road. So he just bought the ditch.
I'm more confused.
Any other board member comments?
I'd like to go ahead and open up the public hearing, please.
Here a second. Second. Public hearing is open. If there's anyone here from the public that would like to speak for or against this variance request, please step up and sign in. I don't see anyone. Can I have a request to close?
Request to close.
Second. Well, the public hearing is now closed. There is no sense in having a rebuttal from the applicant because nobody spoke. Do any board members have any other comments, concerns, or questions of this applicant?
I'd like to go ahead, sir.
I'll make a motion that we accept the variance as written. I wish we had something in place to prevent this from happening. Somebody being able to just go sell something and create a smaller lot. Seems like we should have something,
And I
checks
agree
and
with
balances there, but
I agree with you.
but I will make a motion that this be accepted as written.
Of course, I'll second that. But the thing about it is, we're still dealing with things that's happened in the past before planning and zoning, and we're going to be eating this for a long period of time, and until we get this resolved and we get some standards set, which we've already got them set, and we're following these guidelines, I think we're going to be dealing with this kind of issues for a while.
Okay, gentlemen, we have a motion and a second to approve as written. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Ma'am, your variance request is granted.
Thank you.
Moving along to zoning review item 84, Lot A1 for Joe Percival. If I got that right, if not, I apologize. If you would come forward, sign in, please, sir, and state the hardship or the need for this variance. I don't know what you have. We have copies of some stuff.
Some maps.
Yeah, we have that. Yeah, we have.
I think we have, well,
We don't have this one.
we don't have everything.
All right, Joe Percival here, speaking on behalf of Alphabet Soup Learning Center. I'd come before this board about 8 months ago and had a variance granted on another piece of property. That piece of property ended up falling through, which we've in turn found this piece of property was originally 2 acres. Well, a piece of the property is in dispute. We're down to 1.66 acres, which I only need 1.5 acres to do what I need to do. In Ascension Parish, you're allowed to put a daycare facility in residential, but you're only allowed to put up to 1,500 square feet. So I'm here to request a variance for approval up to 8,500 square feet so I can put in a 10,000 square foot daycare to help meet the needs of the Prairieville area. As you can tell, if you look in the Prairieville area, there's a real shortage of daycares in this area, especially good quality daycares. I understand that there's always, with these types of things, traffic issues, neighbors not wanting because of certain types of traffics. If you can tell by the site plan, we've put ample spots for parking, pulling off of 621, be able to get back on 621 in a safe fashion. And I'll take any questions y'all have.
In actuality, you're requesting 8,500 feet for the variance.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that actually gives you 10,000
Square
feet.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're clear on that.
Yes, sir.
When you said you came before this board for a variance for another piece of property, was it for a daycare? Or
Yes, sir.
Are you trying to associate these two? I mean, when I say you're trying to associate them, I mean, so what was that variance for?
It was for the same thing. I ended up not purchasing that property. It was tied up in 4 or 5 successions deep, and we could not get all the people together. So it ended up falling through.
And it was for a 10,000 square foot building?
Yes, sir. 929 and 930.
I have a question. In the request for variance application, there are 7 line items on the thing that talks about things you need to meet, and you've talked about how it's something that's needful and so forth. What's unique about this situation that you need this variance? That's one of the requirements. And the next question is, while you think about that, is what's the hardship?
Trying to keep the property residential, so I don't want to have to go through everything of trying to rezone it to commercial. And I mean, there are multiple commercial sites there. I don't know how many of them new. There's a hardware store right across the street. Is a big, I don't know what it is, but it's a big garage or something. But there is multiple types of things like that right there on 621. Basically, I mean, I'm trying to bring to Ascension Parish. Me and my wife owned daycare facilities in Baton Rouge, and I'm trying to bring that same type of to Ascension Parish. I know there's different types of, I mean, people that just can't find daycare facilities and good daycare facilities in Ascension Parish. And that's what me and my wife bring. We've been successfully owning and operating about a 7,000 square foot daycare in Baton Rouge, over 110 kids for over 5 years. We offer free web cameras, which no daycares do, to allow parents to be able to view their children just live from their office, home, wherever. But as far as a hardship, I mean, whether it be here, I mean, if you look in Ascension Parish on a major road or anything, you can't find any property. I mean, I've looked high and low. I've been going about this for now a year now, trying to find a suitable piece of property to build on. If you go to Airline Highway or something like that, you know, they want $1 million. A daycare facility can't afford $1 million lot note. I mean, this one is well within reach, and so that's the hardship portion. If I have to go to Airline Highway and build, I can't do it, and I'm going to go back to Baton Rouge because I mean, I can't do it for $1 million lot. I mean, this daycare facility will bring 50 jobs to that one area. I mean, it'll gross over $1 million in revenue for Ascension Parish, and it's going to bring. I mean, there's a Katrina trailer park right down the road. I mean, some of those people would be able to come over here and get a job. My current daycare of 110 kids has currently 35 teachers. So this type of place would employ up to at least 50 teachers.
Let me ask you a question. Have you purchased this property yet?
Not yet. This is contingent.
Contingent
Right.
on?
Yes, sir.
And you're representing the owner?
I'm trying to do that.
Well, no,
Yes, sir.
I'm just saying,
Yes, sir.
is the owner present?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This is the purchase agreement that I have is contingent on me getting the variance granted and making sure that wetland issues and all that are resolved as well.
And yes, it is hard to find property in Ascension Parish.
I mean, and that's why I thought that fell under the hardship, just because of the price range of property values here in Ascension Parish.
It's, excuse me, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yes, sir.
So you're Joe Percival?
Yes, sir.
Probably messed that up, I
That's
apologize.
fine. It don't matter.
But anyway, on the application, on the last page, on page 2 of 3, it shows you as the property owner. You're saying you don't own it at this time?
Well, we thought we would have closed on the property by this time, but there was some issues where someone died and they were out of town and we weren't able to close. I do have the purchase agreement here. We were supposed to close. It's been pushed back to June 5th. So on June 5th, we'll be closing if, of course, we can get the variance approved.
Okay. What if we should approve a variance tonight on this? What is the minimum amount of square footage that you would need?
As far as to what type of building to put in?
As far as to operate this daycare center that you're trying to operate?
I mean, if you want to have that is worth, it's going to be $1 million facility. So if you're anywhere from 7,500 to 10,000 square feet would be suitable to be able to go in, be able to make a decent, to pay all your teachers and everything. But anywhere from in that range. My current facility is about 6,000 square feet.
So you could do it for 6,000 square feet then?
You could, but I mean, once you're talking about building, getting up to closer to $1 million and putting in a facility, you want to get the max potential for for your money.
Well, and I understand that. We've had other daycares come about in other areas of the parish, and pretty much the size limit. This is kind of a larger size than what we've seen people ask for before. And when I've asked that question before, they've gone all the way down and said, well, we need at least 4,000 square feet to make it profitable or make it feasible to run it, to operate. We understand you have to make a profit. You're not going to go into business to not make a profit. And I guess that's what I'm getting at is, bottom line, how many square feet do you need to make this business successful? Not to make it the Taj Mahal,
right.
but to make it successful.
When we started at the one in Baton Rouge, it was 2,500 square feet. And so, I mean, that would basically handle about 60 children. That is not, I mean, basically they're cramped in. I don't like putting in the daycare that just cramps children in. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you go 5,000 square feet, I mean, the kids are on top of each other. I mean, we have nice computer rooms. It's more like a school. We have, reading rooms, TV rooms, computer rooms, a big cafeteria. So, I mean, I would hate to go too much smaller because it's not feasible to, someone coming in and saying, hey, this is an excellent daycare.
But you could go a little bit smaller than that if you had to.
Technically, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for staff. On item 2, under staff comments for land use on this typed up thing. Am I looking at the right one, or have I got sidetracked? Yeah, there's nothing here about what the surrounding land use is, and this is a staff function, so I'm interested why you guys didn't comment on what's there.
I don't know why there's nothing there, but looking at the aerial, it looks to all be residential.
Well, he just said there was commercial across the street.
Right around this lot is completely residential. With directly across the street is some type of garage shop. Right on adjacent, 2 neighbors down, is the big hardware store, and then pure commercial after that.
Yep, and then the next question is, and it's to staff and the legal, this guy's obviously not the property owner, and you guys have him listed as property owner, which, to my way of thinking, invalidates the request, but I'm concerned with legal. Do we have the authority to do this because the owner's not here to validate this whole thing?
Yes, we've always allowed those with purchase agreements of someone to appear on behalf. It's always occurred that way.
Okay, that's fine, just making sure we're safe.
The reason why, Mr. Howard, I wouldn't want to purchase the property and then come before and get shot down. So I would want to at least bring it to y'all, let y'all make the decision whether whether y'all would like for me to move forward on that piece of property. I mean, I don't want to go buy a piece of property and then have to turn it into something else, throw a house in there. I already got a house in Ascension.
Well, Mr. Cox just asked if we could review the purchase agreement. Do you have that with you?
Yes, sir.
You want to share it?
No, that's
It's
beyond the
not
scope.
necessary.
That's beyond the scope
Thank
of
you.
the board.
Okay, thank you. That's why he gets the big bucks. Keep us straight. Thank you very much.
I make a motion to open public hearing.
Second. Public hearing is open. This is where people from the public can speak up for or against. If you'd step up and sign in, sir, and you'd have 3 minutes. Yes, please.
The second guy in line doesn't need to.
Yeah, we've got to watch him close.
Yeah, watch him close.
Sir, if you'd state your name, please.
Richard Schultz. And I'm going to be fast because I've got another meeting to attend. I can appreciate Mr. Percival's wanting to buy this property, and perhaps there is a need for the daycare. I live on El Landry Road. I've lived out there for 12 years. I actually had a purchase agreement on this piece of property for about 6 to 7 months, and I opted to get out of it because of the boundary dispute they had on this. I think this is a bad idea. If you've looked at this property, or you go out there, you'll see that there's a house on one side, there's a house on the other side, there's a house across the street. This would just be completely out of whack to put any kind of commercial business right here. I think if Mr. Percival saw the accidents and the fatalities that I've seen on that curb right there, he'd probably change his mind about putting a daycare. I'm sure they're looking at anywhere from 15 to 30 cars a day coming in and out of there. So that's really a bad idea. And that was something that I had on my mind when I looked at it, because I was looking at downsizing my house and building another residence out there. And I knew that was a bad curve right there, but it is a bad area. I could bring up the traffic situation, but I'm sure y'all are all aware of that. But anyway, that's essentially my ideas on this, and I see some of my other neighbors. I know they want to get up here and speak, so I'll let them get their chance.
And
Thank
you live where, sir?
I live on El Landry.
Any other questions of this speaker?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Who would be next, please?
Afternoon, Commissioners. George Valentine, Councilman and area resident. Glad to see y'all here tonight. I know Mr. Percival personally, and he does run a great daycare center. But as you guys may have known in the past, I have pretty much opposed any businesses along this stretch of land from El Landry Road to 621. To 73 on 621. If you will look, you do have residents on both sides of this particular piece of property. Not only is it heavily traveled, but there are a lot of nice houses, a residential area on the opposite side. There's also a daycare center that's right down the road from it. El Landry Road comes out, there is a hardware store. Those have all been in and grandfathered in, as you well know, for years. There has actually not been any new businesses opened up on 621 from 73 to the airline, to my knowledge, in the last 7, 8, 10 years. There was times where J.D. Broussard wanted to go, if you remember, came before planning and zoning. They wanted to do Crossroads commercial, and of course that was opposed. So I think we need to keep that section of roadway residential for the time being. Maybe sometime in the future, may we look at that a little different. For right now, huge houses, a lot of residents, a lot of traffic, and I think this would just complicate the area even further. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone next?
You have to excuse me, I get nervous. I'm Paul Johnson. I'm the guy directly across the street from the piece of property. I own the big buildings across the street. Well, the big buildings are nothing more than warehouses for cars that I restore and food with my own. It's not really commercial as such, because I was in there long before we ever changed the zoning and everything like that. But I do have business license across the street. I don't operate a business where I take any additional work in or anything like that at all. My concern, though, is strictly the traffic. I mean, it's a nightmare. I've lived out there for 30 years. 30 years ago, I didn't have to look. I could just drive out the front, no problem at all. Now, I have to sit and wait for, depending on the time of the day, quite a few minutes, and I'm saying quite a few minutes, and then it's usually by the goodness of somebody who's slowing down and lets me turn. And if it wasn't for the stop sign where the people were turning on Landry Road, a lot of times I wouldn't get out with the opposing traffic, because there is if you look at the map, this is the most important part of all of it, as far as I'm concerned, there's a big sweeping curve right there. That curve's apex is Landry Road. When you go past Landry Road, it sweeps backwards to the north. When you come back this side of Landry Road towards my house and Mr. Cooper's house, and it sweeps back to the north again. I cannot count the number of times that we've went out in my front yard and helped people with accidents. I mean, just time after time after time. That doesn't even come close to the accidents on the other side of Landry Road, which is directly across the street from Hutch's Hardware, where the other daycare center is located. It's more than, I'd say, 400 or 500 feet from the intersection of Landry Road, maybe 1.5 times further than where this new daycare center will be if y'all approve it. It's a nightmare. It really is. I mean, people stopping to turn in the daycare center. There's constantly they're getting rear-ended right there, or somebody's just running too fast and just runs into the back of somebody else. And I really fear that if you put this in, I'm going to have the same thing in my front yard, only a lot worse. When we first moved out there 30 years ago, like I said, the traffic was not an issue. It just wasn't an issue at all. We used to joke that one of these days the traffic is going to start coming back down from the red light. That's not a joke anymore. If you get out there anytime, if you want to go out there on a school day and watch the normal flow of traffic and normal business hours, they stop past my house in front of Hutch's Hardware waiting for the light to cycle over a half a mile down the road where 73 and 621 crosses. That's my biggest concern. And if you put, he just stated, 50 employees, they coming in and out constantly. All the children. If you're going to have a daycare that's going to run 60, 70 people, you're going to have a lot of cars flowing in and out. And they're going to be at the peak traffic times, which really concerns me. They'll be in the morning when people go into work. They'll be in the evening when people coming home from work. All I do is I invite y'all to come out there in the evenings and watch that traffic and in the mornings. And I really appreciate you giving me the time to speak. Thank you very much.
Let me ask you a question
Yes,
before
sir.
you leave, sir. First of all, you said you're the owner of those big warehouses across the street?
It's in the very back corner of my property. I
Okay.
did that intentionally so I wouldn't interfere with my neighbors.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
You do nothing in those warehouses except for restore cars.
That's
Is
all
that
I do.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you don't have any paid employees?
Oh, no, sir. No,
Okay.
I'm
That's-
self-employed. I'm all
I'll
by
just-
myself.
I just want to ask that question.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Any more? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Robert Malawsaw. I live adjacent to this property that's in question, directly to the west. I got lot A2. I've been there 31 years. Like Mr. Johnson and all these other people have said, it's a traffic nightmare. You got traffic going and coming. You have no shoulders on this road. I don't know how he's going to improve any kind of property for his turn lanes. It's a traffic nightmare. People are going to get hurt. I hate to see little kids get hurt because of a rear-end collision from some big 18-wheeler coming through that at the speed limit, which is 50 miles an hour. But it's a blind curve. You got people in the way with traffic. You got people turning right, turning left. It's going to be a bad situation. I've seen wrecks, like Mr. Johnson said. I've had to replace my mailbox 8 or 10 times in the last 30 years for people not paying attention to what they're doing. People running off in the ditch. Every person on that road between Landry Lane and the interstate has had multiple wrecks in their front yard. I mean, Mr. Johnson's had 10 or 15. Well, I've had 5 or 6 people up the road that have had them. It's just a nightmare. Okay? And that's all I really got to say, and give some of these other people a chance to talk.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ginger Malden, and I live on Slalom Way, which is in the neighborhood Lakeside Ascension Crossing, which some of these, I think a couple of the lots, the residential lots are adjacent to this property. I don't think I need to talk about traffic anymore, except to tell you that when the traffic backs up on 621, what they're doing is coming in. We've got 3 different streets in our neighborhood, so they come in our main entrance, speed through our neighborhood, run the stop sign, which last month someone almost hit me because they didn't stop at the stop sign, go through our neighborhood and go out. And it's constant. They don't want to stop because it is backed all the way up. So they think if they speed through our neighborhood, to get closer to 73 that they can go out. So, yeah, and it's the peak times, and unfortunately that's when people are going to be dropping off and picking up their children. I think the concept he has is wonderful. I just wish he could take it somewhere else where there was more room and not as much traffic. Where, I don't know. But we have Little Lads and Lassies across the street. We have Dutchtown Development probably a mile from there. We have AIM 3 or 4 miles from there, which is a big, huge daycare and summer care. And we also have one on 621 farther to Airline, closer to Airline, a daycare. So it's just, it's just too much traffic and commotion, and the safety of the kids is got to be an issue, and for the residents. Also, wanted to say that the commercial that is nearby, like Mr. Valentine said, has been there for years, and there's nothing that's been approved. I think I know Bill Wood Smith came 3 years in a row to try to get something on a variance approved on that's adjoining our neighborhood, and that failed all 3 times. So I hope y'all will not pass this as well. Thank you.
Ms. Mullins.
Yes.
Almost there. I have one question for you. To get into your neighborhood, you have to go down Landry Road?
No, to get in my neighborhood, you can get Forest Lawn, Slalom Way, or Lake Way. There's 3. It's all off of 621. So,
Okay, so it's between this piece of property then and 73?
that is correct.
Okay, and you're saying they can go through your neighborhood and get over to Landry Road?
Not to get to Landry Road. What they do is come in Lakeway because they're trying to get to 73. So they're on 621. They come in the front entrance with all the palm trees on
Okay.
that's called Lakeway. They go down Mindy Way, usually run that stop sign, keep on going, and then they come out on Forest Lawn. So instead of sitting in the traffic, they're coming through our neighborhood. Okay. We've had police come and monitor it, but they don't do it on a regular basis, and it's constant. It's every day.
Excuse me. Do you have a plaque that shows me that a little bit better? Okay. I'm sorry. There was a gentleman holding up a plaque back here that helps me understand the neighborhood a little bit better.
Yeah, that's
I didn't
fine.
realize that. I thought you meant they could come out on Landry Road. Okay.
This is the Lakeway. They got 2 more inches. This is how
Okay. I see what she's saying. Yeah.
Lakeway is
Okay.
right next to El Landry Road.
Thank you, Jen. I just
Okay.
didn't know for sure exactly what you were talking about. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Sir?
You're good.
Okay, thank you.
State your name, please, sir.
My name is Brian Miyoki. I own the property adjacent to it on El Landry Road. I have pictures showing all of the homes. There's 7 homes that's directly around this piece of property. And that's the only ones I took pictures of, and you're welcome to see them if I can give them to you. And just to show what type of properties it is. Some of these, or the backyard. These 3 shots on the backyard is pretty much this right here. And all of these are on El Landry. I have them on. And these are the homes that are on 621. 2 across and 1 adjacent to it on the west side. What he's asking is to put a building right in the middle of 7 residential homes, several nice homes. The only other commercial property on 621 on that side of the road between El Landry and 73 is a spot that's been there probably longer than most of the houses, and it's right within a quarter of a mile from Highway 73. Hutch's Hardware, where it starts on El Landry, there's commercial development on both sides, but he's asking to put a 10,000 square foot building right in our backyards, in our front yards, and our side yards, and we're against that. Thank you.
We want to take your picture back.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for or against?
I'll just close public hearing.
No, there's somebody
Oh,
that
we got somebody else?
Real quick, gentlemen, I won't take much of your time. I am the current president of Lakeside Ascension Crossing.
Your name?
My name is Wendy Quinlan, I'm sorry. And I'm here representing our board of directors. We do oppose this proposal for the daycare. Again, Ginger Malden, who spoke, was one of our residents opposing this. She pretty much hit all the highlights for me as far as the undue stress that we have with the traffic there. I'm gonna, I don't really need to reiterate what all of these residents said. I have spoken with the Sheriff's Department again about trying to control the excessive speed of travelers coming through our neighborhood, trying to bypass traffic, trying to get to the light there at 73. And I can attest for accidents. My husband was rear-ended right on 621 trying to get into our neighborhood. Same thing. You've got some curves and some blind spots, and people travel in pretty excessive speeds down 621 as it is, even with the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. So again, on behalf of our board of directors there at Lakeside Ascension Crossing, we ask you to please not to consider this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for or against?
My name is Rick Simmons. I own the property that's adjacent on the west side of Mr. Melanson. It is a vacant tract that I'm planning to build a house on. My concern is that we're looking for a variance, and I know this is done all the time, but I would think of a variance 300, 500 square feet would be a variance. I think at 10,000 square feet, we're trying to, I won't say rezone, but asking for something that's a little bit further than a variance. And this building, as the gentleman said before me, will back up into everybody's backyard on Landry Road, and several in Lakes at Ascension Crossing also. So the people that enjoy their properties in the afternoon may not have that in the future. There is a lot of traffic. We do have a pretty smaller school at the other end of the street that's around 2,500 feet, which I would think that a 1,500 to 2,000 foot daycare center would be one thing, but 10,000 feet to me looks like it's going into a commercial application. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak for or against? Hang on. Mr. Percival, we always grant the applicant an opportunity for additional comments or rebuttal, so you'll have about 3 minutes or so.
All right. A lot of opposition. I should have brought some more people with me. Couple of things. As far as the gentleman right across the street, I mean, whether he has employees or he doesn't, he has big commercial warehouses that appear as if they were a body shop. If you look at it from the road, he may be the only one doing it, but if you look at it from the road, it looks like it's just a body shop back there with vehicles all around it. I should have brought you a picture. As far as the traffic is concerned, I mean, we have that throughout Ascension. What they're saying is nothing new. That's not for this board to decide. I mean, that has to be handled throughout Ascension all the way. They're going to have the problems with the traffic, whether I come in here or not. They're going to have the problems with people going in their neighborhood, whether I come in here or not. That is a fact. They're stating that. Me putting in this facility is not going to add to that. We are going to take some of the existing traffic off the road. We are only open 6:30 to 6. We're not open on the weekends. There will be no one at this facility after 6 o'clock at night, no one coming in or out of this facility after 6 o'clock at night. If you look at, they say they don't want people stopping. Well, right down the street, 2 blocks from here is Duplessis Elementary School. So you can't tell me that we don't have people, thousands of people, going to Duplessis Elementary School, which are stopping and turning, stopping and coming in and out of Duplessis Elementary School. I mean, it looks like we have a broader situation going on here than just this little piece of property. I mean, there may need to be some red lights or something else going on there if these people are having all these problems there. I mean, it looks a lot bigger than what I'm trying to do. I mean, if I don't do it here, it'll be somewhere in Baton Rouge, it'll be somewhere else. I mean, that's fine. Like I said, I can't go get $1 million piece of property and try to build on it. It's just not feasible. This one was well within budget, so I was able to, try to negotiate that with a seller. She's going to sell it to somebody. Now, whether they put a house or whatever they put on there, I don't know what they're going to put. But I heard what all they say. That's up to y'all. I mean, that's all I can say.
Thank you, sir. Anybody have any questions?
Motion to close public hearing.
Do you hear a second? Public hearing is now closed.
I'll make a motion to deny the request due to that I failed to see the hardship being created by allowing bigger square footage. I think we would be causing a hardship for allowing that big
I
of
second that
facility.
motion.
We have a motion and a second to deny. All in favor of denying, say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Sir, your motion is denied. Okay, moving along to the next issue. This is ID 1885, Lot 181 of the River Highlands third filing for Gary Nugent. And I see we probably have an agent here, Ms. Johnson. And we're just going to let the people that want to leave, leave.
Let the noise get down. Let the back end get out.
O'Neill, while we're waiting, I want to thank you for keeping us on the straight and narrow there. Thank you so much.
You earned your paycheck today.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Hi, how are y'all this evening? My name's Linnell Johnson. I'm here tonight on behalf of my husband and myself. We own Lot 181 on River Highlands Drive in the third filing. We are asking for a couple of things, but the most important thing is we're asking for a variance on the property of about 13 feet on the building setback. In your little packet, I kind of gave you some pictures and some background on the property. I'm not sure how much you want me to reiterate on that. We purchased this property, I think, in 2001 from the or 2003 from the previous developer. On this particular property, we purchased the entire right side of the road, so we don't own just this lot. We own all 18 lots on the right side of the road, so you know we're not just with this one. There was a canal there, and when the previous developer decided to develop the subdivision there, they had to broaden the bayou, which is Bayou Pierre, to construct a bridge over it, and it kind of absorbed most of Lot 181 and Lot 180. Instead of leaving a big hole there, what we decided to do, and being it was incorporated with the Corps of Engineers permit that dates back to 1998, we decided to bulkhead the back, went through the process of applying for application with the Corps of Engineers. The property was just a big, that one lot was so little you could do nothing with it. You couldn't build a house on it, you couldn't do anything with it. So what we decided to do, along with the agreements of the neighborhood, is make it pretty much a green area for the entrance to our neighborhood. We've landscaped it. It says here that we constructed a gazebo in the building line. We really actually didn't construct it. I found that to be a false positive there. It's a movable building, so you know what it looks like. You ever seen those out at Sam's that they sell, those real pretty wooden gazebos? That's what this is. We had an erosion problem on the property. The kids wanted to go fish, so we just kind of beautified it a little bit and made it less an eyesore and more of a beautiful place for the kids and the neighbors and the association to enjoy. Everything you have is in the packet. I have more pictures. I don't know what questions you have, or if you have any.
Yeah, why has this come up all of a sudden?
Because I'm building a marina. What we did, I have some extra pictures. I don't know if y'all want to see them or you want me to show them to you up here. That kind of gives you a full scope of what this property looks like. If you're on the diversion canal, the Bayou Pierre, if you're coming from, say, Canal Bank, head down the diversion. Bayou Pierre runs all through Ascension Parish. It is the divider of Ascension Parish and Livingston, as y'all know. When the previous developer developed the subdivision in Ascension Parish, he had to put a bridge over. There was guidelines and things that had to be met. And there was a canal that went behind these pieces of property. And like I said, there was 18 lots. Part of that had to stay. When we purchased the property, we filled in the rest of the canal up to where the Corps of Engineers said we could not. There's a certain part of that where it comes in, kind of takes a little kick back to the kind of like southeast back there, and the bayou continues to roam its way back around to Highway 22. Being we couldn't fill that back up, you ended up with this big, just muddy hole. Instead of leaving in a muddy hole, which became a liability issue for everybody, because the elevation grade from the road to where this canal is, or this bayou is anywhere from 14 to 18 feet, and you're only talking about a 30-foot span where you have that drop. So what we did with the Corps of Engineers to keep the property from eroding and to do things that were beneficial to the area, we added and put a marina in place on the other 2 lots that were actually big enough to do that. And in agreement with that, we agreed not to build any structures on, and I don't think you have a full map of the property. I think I do. We agreed, excuse me just a minute. If y'all want to see this, I'll be glad to hand it to you so you can look at it so you understand the full scope. Would that help you a little bit?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
We might want to see it. That's all right.
See lot 181 here? We actually didn't realize we were in the building servitude. You see where the canal's running through it? Lot 170, 180, I'm looking upside down, 180, 179, and 178. We just had to leave a big hole. And it was the selling feature for the rest of the lots on the other end of the street.
And where's the river? Or
The
this
river-
canal?
right.
This is the edge of the other edge.
This is the edge of the canal. And
Canal.
Yeah, the canal comes here. There's a bridge that brings you from Livingston to Ascension that runs this way.
Oh, across.
Across the road. Yes, sir.
So it comes like this.
Yes, and the diversion canal sits here. If you see that over there, you'll see how it runs.
So technically, this part of your lot right here is water.
It's all water.
Right here.
It's all water.
All up to here.
All up to there.
All up to here, and this is the bank.
That's
and this
the
is the
bank.
bank that's in the picture.
Yes, that's the bank that's in the pictures. And we've made in our Corps of Engineers permit, which you have.
And now you're looking for the variance for these boat slips?
No.
But this has already been built.
Gazebo.
Here.
From here to here?
I don't know if
Yeah,
your
it's in the
little
building
thing's
setback.
on up there or not, but let me show
Because it's
you.
in this is the building
This
line.
brings you into
I
the
see what you're
diversion,
talking
this brings you in from the diversion canal. If you follow these pictures and see, it'll walk you from the diversion
So
canal.
these are already built, and that's okay. You can't do nothing.
So this is the measurement we're looking for right here?
Yeah, the measurement is actually on the measurement is actually where the gazebo sits, just off the curb. And if you'll notice on that as well, the road makes a curve. When you cross over the bridge, you'll be able to see that in your pictures. The road makes a curve, so where this gazebo sits does not hamper any view or anything of that nature. When you're coming into the subdivision, the road actually veers off to your right, and this gazebo sits kind of behind that area, so there's no impaired vision, there's no impaired lighting or anything of that nature.
And you're dedicating this lot 181 to the subdivision or to the common?
I'm not dedicating it to anybody. I'll be quite frank with you and honest with you. I'm going to retain that lot myself. We're not dedicating it to the subdivision yet. We do have approval from them to do the marina. I brought all those documents with me if you want to see that, but that's really not the point at hand. There's a Corps of Engineers permit tied in with that, and as you can see on your map, there's probably about 30 foot of true wetland property behind the canal that goes off behind the canal. I don't want to release, I don't think it's in the best interest of my neighborhood at this point in the ball game to release that permit over to anyone else besides myself. We're real big into preserving the area back there. We don't want to get back in that swamp and tear things up or have people come put accesses through there or anything of that nature at this point. But it is going to remain a green area. That's instructed through the Corps of Engineers permit.
I mean, is it a private gazebo or is it something?
No, everybody's
people
free.
use?
It's a common area for everyone. We don't restrict anyone. We encourage the people in the neighborhood. We actually have an agreement with the neighborhood once this marina gets finished. There's going to be some type of agreement between us on maintenance and common areas and things of that nature. We will retain ownership, but there will be an agreement between the neighborhood and us, and everybody uses it. The kids go back there and fish, and it's really, it's a beautiful, you can see from the pictures, it's a beautiful area. It was either that or leave it a big dirt hill, which was more of a liability and hazard.
May I say something? I'm Gary Nugent. I'm the owner of the property. We actually live right across the street from this. We bought this from the developer just trying to keep things from happening. Instead, I didn't know I could come over here and tell somebody I didn't want to do something. So what I did is I bought the property so we could protect our interests of all of our homes and just make sure it came out nice. We've already exceeded raising the square footage from 1,600 to 1,900 for the lots across the street to protect the value of our homes. Plus, you can see what we've done. That's the best we could have done with the canal because they wouldn't let us fill it all in. That's as much as we could do. But we're just basically trying to protect the interests of our home and our neighbors and just make it nice.
You're building a marina, okay? What kind of gets me is you're building a marina. You're charging people for to park there?
No, sir. If you notice, there's no parking in the front. We did it on purpose because our neighbors, and we don't want people parking in front of our house. So there's 18 lots, or actually there's 16 on the right-hand side of the road. See, we live on the river. The other lots across the street from us don't have no water access. The canal made the lots so small that it used to run behind these houses, where they can only build little bitty houses. I mean, the biggest house out there is like 4,500 square foot, which a 1,600 square foot house kills our property value. So we worked a deal to try to fill the canal up as far as we could and make a marina here. So now the houses can still have water access, live down the street, walk down to your boat and leave that away.
I was just questioning, Mr. Chairman, the reason that really doesn't have any benefit. My questioning doesn't have any benefit. What we're looking at is a gazebo is 12 foot away from the property line, and the minimum setback is 25 feet. So we're talking about a 13-foot variance just for the gazebo, not for anything else that they have. But I did want to know if that marina was going to be involved in charging people to go down to gazebo.
Oh, no.
And charging
no.
people left and right
No.
to use this property.
No.
That's what my condition was.
No, this piece of property sits directly across the street from my house, from our home. No, you don't get charged. We've maintained this personally ourselves since we purchased it. It was our money that we did all this with. We don't ask for any. We don't function that way.
And it's beautiful. I will tell you, it is a beautiful.
It really
piece of
is.
property.
It's coming along nice.
But I was just worried about whether or not the little kids had to be charged $5 to walk down on the dock.
No, if anything, I'm getting charged $5 every time I go buy them a bunch of worms because they run out of worms to fish, so it's costing me money.
I hear this.
But it's nice, and like I said, with the curvature of the road, it doesn't fall in any. It's not. It's
not a structure, it's a deck.
It's not a structure.
It's it's not in the. It's not. It doesn't obstruct anybody's view or anything of that nature. The way it sits.
Motion to open public hearing.
All right. Public hearing is open. Does anyone here wish to speak for or against this variance?
Motion to close public hearing.
Here's a second. Public hearing is now closed. There's no sense in you having any rebuttal because there was no comments.
I did want to add one more thing, if you could. There was a question of the walkway and the deck and things of that nature. DPW, if you look in your packet, there is a letter. DPW did come in and look, and they did say that the walkway and everything of that nature was not an issue with the way the utilities and such were laid out. There's nothing that's hampered there either.
We're just only looking at a gazebo problem.
Let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. I guess that's the best way to go ahead and re-ask or something.
Sure it is, because I was going to ask the board members if any more comments or questions.
The wood deck, so this is, you're inviting boats to come along there and tie up along there?
No, I'm not. Actually, this is going to be a private marina. This is not. Let me tell you what we're doing with this, so you'll have the full scope of the picture so you can understand. I've explained to you the use of the property, what beyond what I'm asking you for today, so you know what's coming in the future. The wood deck that is there is simply a structure issue and an appearance issue. You don't necessarily have to. There's a bulkhead up underneath there, so that you know there's a bulkhead structure underneath there. This just gave the kids a place to go fish, and it's just more of a decorative issue.
So you're not expecting outside boats to come tie up there?
No, I'm not expecting. No, I'm not. The marinas, the boat slips that are in here are actually for sale with or without the home, the homeowners that decide to buy the remainder of the lots. I will tell you one advantage to having this wood deck here that I did not realize would become an advantage. For anybody of those who are familiar with the diversion canal and the traffic on that place on a Friday to a Sunday, you understand. The Martins were kind enough to put a helicopter pad in Waterfront East to land air med and things of that nature. Rescue of hurt people has become a huge issue on the diversion canal because there's no wake zones. What we have found, they're coming through, they know this is here now, and they actually have a new rescue team that Livingston Parish is coming up with, and we're going to dedicate 2 boat slips to them to park their rescue units and their, watercraft rescue. They actually come on through this canal off the diversion, and they transporting patients and holding patients on this wood deck. They can maneuver them better without having to worry about the wake zones and things of that nature. So they're bringing patients here, they're staging them here, they're doing whatever needs to be done in an emergency situation, and a helicopter is actually landing on my lots to pick these people up. This has happened on many, many occasions in the last 4 or 5 years that I've been there. So that's one of the reasons we've decided to keep that deck and leave that deck, and it actually sits over water, even though it is in the building servitude. It sits over water, which I understand is no jurisdiction of the parish. It's taken care of by the federal government. So that's why your wood deck is not mentioned in the variance here.
Any other comments, concerns from the board members? Do I hear a motion?
We'll go ahead and make the motion to approve as written.
Hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Thank
opposed,
you.
like sign. Ma'am, your variance is granted.
Thank you so much.
And last but not least is zoning review 1886 for design contractors located south side of LA Highway 42, approximately 2,600 feet west of LA Highway 933. Did you sign in? Please, after you sign in, state your name and what the hardship is or unique circumstances that are necessary for this variance.
My name is Wayne Close. I'm one of the members of Design Contractors. We've owned this property for about 3 years, and we are at the point where we'd like to move forward with it. And what basically happened is, because it's in the conservation zone, we had to obviously go 1 acre. We talked to Charles and Lance and told them that we had, after we did the drainage and the wetlands, it changed the configuration, and we sat down with them and said, we have some lots here that to conform with that 1 acre, they're going to be twice as wide as they are deep, and it's just not going to look good in the subdivision, basically. And lot 18 and 19 and lot 6, 5, and 4 were the lots that we basically made a couple of adjustments.
Excuse me, Wayne, do you have a plat showing the lot numbers? Because we don't have what we have in our package.
Would you want this thing under here, or you want me to bring it up there?
Oh, you have it on there? Okay, I'm
You
sorry.
can put it under the thing, that way
You can put
everybody
it
can
under
see
there.
it.
You can put it under there, that way we can all see it. Because our plat doesn't show the lot numbers.
Might have to move it around a little bit. but
Actually, I've
please
got a
say
couple copies that I can bring up there and let you guys look at.
Yeah.
Be helpful. We can share one here. At least we know what the lot numbers are. Here we go. Okay.
Basically, the drainage and the wetlands changed this subdivision dramatically. We lost several lots, and really, when we sat down with Lance and Charles and we just said, what do you suggest? That was one of the things that they suggested, is that we, come to this meeting and what have you. If you see that there's still several lots that are over 200 feet wide, we didn't come with 7 or 8 lots. We came with 5 or less lots, which was basically, something that, we didn't want to overstep what we were trying to achieve.
Can you give us that lot numbers again? I see 18.
Lot 18, 19, and lot 6, 5, and 4. Basically, there were 2 and 1 lots, and we did create an additional lot, but we did the right thing for the subdivision because it just wouldn't have made sense to have a 200 and something foot wide lot and 100 and something foot deep. It just wouldn't have fit. And if you look at the layout, we could have, there's several lots that we could have made smaller and yielded more lots. So yielding more lots was not the objective. The objective was just basically to move the lines a little bit so that we didn't have some extraordinarily wide but not very deep lots, and it just wouldn't look right. And the smallest lot is .76. It's not, we didn't, go for half acre or anything like that. Under the recommendation, both Lance and Charles, we made the lots large, and we also limited it to 5 lots for the whole subdivision.
Any board members have any questions on this applicant?
Not right now, maybe later.
Brad, you look like you got something you want to say.
Well, I mean, when we get the subdivisions that we do and they ask for more than like one lot and it's not one homeowner, one thing I try to do is, could it have been done correctly or without coming to a variance? I see a couple of things that could be done to make it look and comply with the regulations, but of course it requires some additional green space and things of that nature, and eliminating some lots.
I appreciate what you're saying. One of the things that the drainage and the wetlands impact took away 3 lots already. And what we're doing is we're going backwards in the amount of lots, and it's at some point, it's one of these things where some of these lots they were so wide that it just really didn't make sense with the depth that we had to work with.
Show me where you were taking away with some wetlands and stuff on this property.
Well, I mean, the whole layout was designed around the wetlands that we've already filed and also the drainage impact. And so, the 3 lakes and everything, that everything that you see with the subdivision is all in consideration of, doing everything that the parish has asked us to do with regard to the drainage and the wetlands.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns by board members?
Motion to open public hearing.
Second. Public hearing is open. This is where people from the audience can speak for or against this variance request. If there's anyone wishes to speak, then come forward and sign in. Mr. Close, if you yield the microphone, just have a seat there.
Hi, my name's Jeff Mealy. I am exactly adjacent to lot 18 and 19, and I'm kind of concerned exactly what he's going to do when he builds right here on this property. What is he going to do to mine? I mean, is there going to be a servitude on my fence line to theirs? Are they going to try to take some of my property and put a servitude? Are they going to have catch basins to drain? Or are they going to drain back onto my property? Because I have a pond, and I really, that is, I've had to deal with for years. And I really don't want them to drain into my property to give me more hassle that I have now.
Mr. Chairman, this really, excuse me, I didn't want to interrupt, but this is not a variance issue. I mean, he's asking for variance on the size of lots. This has nothing to do with drainage.
Okay.
That's a
Well,
planning
then
and
how many
zoning
lots is he trying to put behind mine then?
It's a planning and zoning issue that you'd have to go to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And
So basically,
he's just asking for reduction in lot size for 5 lots.
so does that mean, that, that's going to include all of our property too, if we want to do that? If we want to subdivide ours, we can do that?
No, sir. This is only dealing
Only
with
for
this.
his.
It's a variance that he's seeking on his property. The drainage is not an issue here.
Drainage is not an issue?
No.
So it's just, okay, so if I wanted to do it myself, I'd have to go through the same issue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so apparently I'm wasting my time and yours.
No, but it's the wrong committee.
That's what I'm saying. We got a letter. Not everybody on Bill Morgan Road got a letter.
And they wouldn't, because their property does not come up to, like 18 and 19, touch your property.
Yes, I didn't get a letter. So that's what I'm saying. My neighbor got a letter, but I didn't. That's why I'm here. Because I didn't know. I'm lost here. What's actually going on? I don't know what a variance is.
You have a mortgage company, don't you? Bet you have a mortgage on that.
I have a holding on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably went to that address, whatever's on file for that.
Oh, okay. Because it sure didn't. I mean, the property, it's only got a holding on it from the mortgage on my house, but other than that, the property is held. I mean, it's.
We need to check into that so that we can make sure the landowners are getting properly notified. Yeah, this is really, doesn't affect your land, it's only affecting the lots that.
And there's rules, to be honest with you, sir, there's rules and regulations in place to keep, anywhere in Louisiana, you cannot intrude on another piece of property by drainage, okay? That's law.
Okay, well,
Okay,
I'm
no matter what he does.
I'm ignorant to the facts, so that's why I'm here.
You cannot intrude on your neighbor. If he builds his land up and he starts draining on you, that's against the law.
Okay.
Okay? So drainage, as legal as just stated, has nothing to do with this. We're dealing with the size of the lot right now. And that's all we're dealing with.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak for or against this issue? Can we close the public hearing?
Close the public hearing.
Second.
Public hearing is now closed. Mr. Close, you have an opportunity to have rebuttal, but I don't think it's necessary because he really didn't speak for or against.
What are you saying exactly? I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to say you have an opportunity to speak, but there's really no need.
I
He didn't
understand
speak
that.
for or against.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I do have a question for you. I think Mr. Walker asked you a while ago, he said he saw some things that you could do, and you stated that the number of lots wasn't in question here, that you're not trying to get more lots or anything of that nature. And I appreciate the fact that you brought up the unique circumstances of the wetlands and on this piece of property that's causing these problems. However, in the conservation district that it's in, I am correct, or I'm right?
Yeah.
Yes, you
It's
are.
conservation.
In the conservation district that it's in, requiring 1 acre lots was put in place, obviously, for a reason. Now, with that being said, on the, I guess would be the west side of it, the side against Beechwood Estates, okay, where the 2 ponds are.
Right.
I'm looking at, most of these lots are 187, 186, 185, 184, 182 wide, and I'm talking about lots 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. And on the other side of the street, you have them at 203, 203, 203, lots 14, 15, 16, 17 over in that area. My only question is, why couldn't those lots be as wide on this side of the street, maybe making you have one less lot? I'm not sure because I'm not a designer. Okay?
Well, you know, to be honest with you, when we had this problem in the very beginning, we went in Lance's office and explained the situation, okay? Both Charles and Lance, we explained exactly the situation. We didn't go through every single lot, I guess, and adjust every single lot. But I know that you know, we did have 3 lots that we pointed to, and we said, look, these lots are unusually wide. You know, do you think what do you think that we should do? And they gave us this information that you hear as you say, you know, as we're speaking now. I personally think that if we, you know, went and adjusted everything and you know, lost the few 3/4 acre lots, you know, we would be giving up another couple of lots, and it would probably, quite frankly, you know, I don't know if this thing would even happen, quite frankly.
My question to you is, would you be willing to give up 1 lot on the west side of this? I don't have any problem on the east side of this, okay? On the side next to the gentleman that just spoke's property or whatever, I don't have any problem on that side. But on the west side of this property, where the ponds are, okay?
This is what
Am I looking?
That's east.
Okay, I apologize. Okay.
He's turned around north and south.
I'm sorry. I don't have a problem on the west side.
East side.
The problem I have is on the east side with these smaller lots that you have down to 135 and 150 and 150 wide. With the comparison of the other side with lots, where's that thing about? With lots 14, 15, 16, 17 being 203 wide, couldn't you widen out lots 7, 8, 9, or 8, 9, 10, 11, okay, and shift that over to maybe do away with 1 lot?
And if I may,
making them closer to the right amount of size. Then you'd have a variance on 4 lots instead of 5.
The
And I'm not
smallest
trying to
lot
just
is-
get you down a lot.
Right.
Believe me, I'm
The
trying to.
The smallest lot is still 0.76. It's not like we're going to try to get a half-acre lots or anything. 0.76 is the smallest lot. They're just deeper on that side.
let me see. I'm Brandon Acosta. I'm the engineer. I'm actually the designer
Okay.
of the little layout you guys are looking at. See if I can make some sense here. The layout is kind of set by, there's a big chunk of low area in the middle of the property. You can kind of see the contours on the layout. Where the 2 ponds that are centrally located, it's a very low piece of the property. So those ponds are kind of fixed. So what that
They
did,
have to be there.
they have to be there.
Okay, and you've answered my question right
They
there.
ha- and I thought that's what you were getting at. They have to be there, and what that did, it kind of made us shift the road over to the, west side, which actually makes the lots on that side not as deep. Those are the 215 deep lots.
Right.
The other side had to be 236. What it did is it created 3 blocks of lots. A block, that means lot 13 through 23 is 1 block. Lot 7 through 12 is another block. And then lot 1 through 6 is the 3rd block. And what happened is, lot 7 through 12, it's a perfect block. You can see we got all 1-acre lots.
Right.
Lot 13 through 23, it didn't work out to where we could get all 1-acre lots. If we had to combine 18 and 19, we'd have a lot basically 370 feet wide by 180 to 200 feet deep, which just didn't work. And again, on the block lots 1 through 6, same thing. If we'd combined 4, 5, and 6 to make them 4 and 5, we'd have had 2 lots basically 300 feet wide by 200 feet deep. And that was the whole reasoning for the layout, just to give it more typical lot sizes for nice residential estate homes, if that makes any sense at all.
Yes. It makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you clarifying that because, and I guess the biggest question I should have asked first is, are the ponds statically put there? They have to be there.
Well, I understand it's
somebody
statically
smarter.
put there, but I still see where you got it marked on 14 feet versus 15 versus 16. Lot 6 can still go in a pond area. I mean, and when it's still 14 to 16, where the other ones are, actually pond 3 is actually higher than lot 6.
What were you saying now?
What I'm saying is lot 6 could still be incorporated in the ponds if it had to be shifted over.
Well, and again, getting back to the ponds, he's actually got more pond than what he's going to need for this development. So I know you were asking about the green space.
Right, I
from a
understand
drainage, and I know we're not supposed to talk about drainage, but I would be the one designing the drainage. From a drainage standpoint, he's got more ponds on this development than he'll ever need from a drainage or a dirt standpoint.
Does he need the pond in the front by the entrance?
It's basically just a piece of property that he can't really, it's on a hill, so it's
It's
kind of an
aesthetic,
undevelopable, and that's kind of just a aesthetic feature. Yeah. Kind of an entrance area, aesthetic feature, basically all it would be.
Are there any other questions from board members?
One other quick question, if you don't mind. So Jody Avenue will connect through there or won't connect?
That was the request of the planning and zoning. They said to show it that way.
That it would connect?
Well, we'd have to obviously go through planning and zoning if we get that far, so it is their opinion that they would want a connection.
Okay, and that's not relevant to this.
I mean, is that connection going to be made when y'all do the main road?
Jody is actually just space. It's not a road, and we would
Okay.
allow that space on our side just the same.
They have what he's saying is they have the access servitude, but not the actual.
So you're not going to actually blacktop anything?
Not
to
the highway. Yeah, just the
the,
access, not the highway.
It's just a green grass area on the Jody, and we would just continue that, and that way, if
And
it
it
ever
would-
did become eroded,
You said this was requested by zoning and planning. Did you really mean the zoning and planning office staff?
The staff.
Or the actual council?
No, the staff.
Okay,
The
so
staff.
staff requested they leave that there.
Charles and Lance.
Okay. Any other questions?
Oh, Neil, isn't there certain requirements as far as a 2 entrance to a subdivision? I thought we
No.
were doing away with one
No,
street.
No, it's not a requirement.
Any other questions or comments by board members? Do I hear a motion? Guys, I can't make the
I'm
motion.
going to make the motion that we approve as written, and because I think it's in harmony.
Yeah, and I'll second that after what they clarified for me, so.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept as written. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
Your motion is granted.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Okay, let's see, what's next?
Old business. Old business.
We do have some old business.
We do.
It got dropped off the agenda again.
The old business, on the old business, we'll go ahead and talk about the not rules and regulations, but the actual operation procedures for the board. I think between the chairman and I, we ought to have that pretty well taken care of this week. I think everything's in that I need to have in to clarify what I was talking about. So.
Now, what we're working on, instead of, just for clarification, instead of a set of bylaws, we're trying to work on a set of organizational rules and structure.
Guidelines, yes. It's guidelines, yes, sir.
So hopefully but I do want this on the agenda for next meeting.
You want it under old business?
Well, it is old. It's been carrying over for previous meetings, and that's where old business would fall.
Well, it should be ready for review next meeting.
And we can submit it to everybody for
Submit it to
review, and
everybody
then we'll let
for-
it lay over till the following meeting.
Right, that's correct.
But that would show up under old business because it's a continuation, unless I'm screwed up on.
No, you're not.
Is it for review or?
Well, it's for discussion and review.
It's for discussion and review.
Okay,
And
having
it's
said all that, do you have any new business?
Classify that as guidelines.
Yeah. I guess on the new business, I want to ask O'Neill a question real quick. O'Neill, how many board members are we, I guess not budgeted for, because none of us make any money, but how many can we have up here?
7.
7, counting the chairman.
Yes.
Okay, so 4 of us plus there's 3 more.
Right.
So they still haven't filled one position?
Do we have that filled at this time?
No.
No.
Nobody's applying.
I don't know. I mean, I don't, that's.
May I make a
that's not much.
suggestion?
I don't
Okay,
know.
the only reason I'm saying that is because, if you remember, I brought up to you the first part of the year, and we're approaching that time when, August, September, October, and November, I mean, there's 4-month period of the year where there is a 95 to 99% chance that I will not be able to attend this meeting. And so I don't want to leave my other board meeting members in a crimped situation in that 4-month period. I certainly enjoy the work I do on this board. I certainly would like to stay on the board. However, if I have to step down so that there's a position for somebody to fill, y'all understand the particular I'm in.
We
so
have one unfilled right now, so don't jump anywhere.
I'm not jumping anywhere just yet.
We can do a little commercial if you'd like to be on this, board, once a month. Dedicate once a month, contact Lance Brock at 621-5700.
Good job. Vice Chairman.
But we are coming up that period of time in the year where it could mean the difference of having a quorum here and not having a quorum if some other people have problems. In those 4 months, I can't guarantee I'm going to be here.
Make
Because
a
of my
suggestion
livelihood.
that we go ahead and re-advertise in the newspaper.
Yeah, I would.
And on TV, put a nice little screen up saying we're looking for a board member on the screen, whenever they're not doing member meetings.
I'll get with GIS and see.
Is that it?
Make
Do
a
I hear
motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Good night. Thank everyone.